Okay, so what I want to show you here is what happens when you use Roundup. And so when you're using Roundup to kill weeds and things, you're really toxifying your environment. And so right here, what I can see on the ground right here is moss. And if you think about it, when you think of the earth in its most toxic form, when it was first being formed and there was all kinds of toxic fumes and things growing, the first thing to grow were mosses, ferns, and lichens before all these other plants evolved. So in this row here where I am right now, you can see the difference between the grass here and then this area where it looks dead. And this was Roundup using glyphosate. And it toxified this environment so much that not even the grass could grow. And this is analogous to like an open wound. It's like taking nice flesh and ripping it off. And the earth abhors a vacuum, and this created a vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum. And so this moss is coming and it's trying its best to restore this place to somewhat fertility so it'll support other life. And as the moss starts to grow, then you get other little sprouts like this guy coming up. But that's just the difference between that area you saw, areas where you see where there's nice mycelium growth and good fungal, and then these areas where it's just been completely destroyed. There's no soil being generated here. It's just rock, huge amounts of erosion. You can see just how, like, all the dirt washed away and eroded from this area, and the only life it'll really sustain is moss to grow, to kind of be a band-aid to heal this area and bring back an environment for life. And the moss is really hardcore, used to growing in extremely toxic environments. So anytime you're going and you see moss growing, it's a really poor environment to sustain other higher life forms, which, papaya trees are really evolved plants. This tree is very evolved and, produces delicious fruit, and it's something we want to grow. So creating compatibility between these two environments, not trying to grow a highly evolved plant in a primordial toxic environment, but actually creating a life-providing, rich, fertile environment, and then planting something like a papaya will be much more compatible. And then I naturally won't have to deal with disease and fungal issues. When I strip away all the beneficials down here and there's no good fungus down here, how do I expect the good fungus to be present up in the trees and where I need it? So creating that compatibility of putting the right good beneficial fungus into my soils, then up on my trees, then I don't expect to have disease either here or there. It's all one organism, one immune system working together, creating fertility, and really growing in harmony, in synergy with nature. You don't walk through a rich forest and find moss growing on the ground. In fact, you don't even find weeds growing. You find very beneficial, good things. So it's kind of going on a stretch with that analogy, but main thing here, just the moss, the toxic nature of this, then trying to grow these plants, and you wonder why there's disease. Well, start with good life, start with beneficial, start with fungal hyphae, mycelia, life in the ground, and then you can expect your trees to naturally perform better.